You might have heard everyone talking about the best budgeting app, specifically two top contenders for that title. Quicken Simplifi versus Monarch Money. Which one is better? That's what I wanted to find out. So I decided to do a quick comparison to help you decide which personal finance app will best manage your daily life. Now, right from the start, it seems pretty clear that one is cheaper than the other. So on paper, it should win. But in reality, well, it's quite a different story. Let me explain in my Quicken Simplifi versus Monarch Money comparison. Before comparing them directly, let's get the similarities out of the way. Both apps cover the essentials most people expect from a modern money management software. Both Quicken Simplifi and Monarch Money connect my financial accounts in one place, including bank accounts and credit cards. Both automatically import transactions, categorize my spending, and help me understand where my money is going without requiring, manual spreadsheets. They also let me build budgets, create savings goals, and monitor my progress throughout the month. But that's not all these apps can do. Beyond budgeting, both services provide a complete financial picture by tracking loans, investments, assets, and my net worth. Whether you prefer working on your computer or checking your finances on the go, both apps are available on the web and mobile devices. Security is another area where they align, using encryption to protect sensitive financial information. Lastly, both are premium platforms focused on budgeting for beginners, so they'll cost you, although there are ways to save. By using my discount links in the description, you can get either app for less, and Monarch even offers a free trial. So if you already know what you want, grab the discount and happy saving. But if you're not sure, then let's move on to the actual differences. As I mentioned at the start, the first one is pricing. Quicken Simplifi is clearly the more affordable option. So if your goal is simply to get one of the best budgeting apps without spending too much money, Simplifi immediately becomes the winner. It covers the core budgeting features most people need while keeping the subscription costs relatively low. On the other hand, Monarch Money comes at a higher price point, but it also offers a free trial. Personally, I think that's very valuable because you'll use budgeting software every single day. So before paying for a yearly subscription, it's worth making sure the workflow actually matches how you manage your finances. But let's be fair, paying more only makes sense if you're getting meaningful extra features. So let's do a quick Simplifi versus Monarch Money review, focusing on tools to see if it's worth your time. One of the biggest differences actually comes down to budgeting philosophy. Quicken Simplifi focuses on something called the spending plan. Instead of asking how much I already spent, it asks a much more practical question. How much money can I safely spend? That's useful because your checking account balance doesn't tell the whole story. Let's say I have $2,000 available today, but rent, utility bills, subscriptions, groceries, savings goals, and upcoming payments have already claimed most of it. It's easy to get confused about how much money I actually have available. Simplifi takes everything into account before showing me what's actually safe to spend. So before buying new headphones or ordering takeout, I can immediately see whether it comfortably fits within my monthly budget. Monarch Money approaches budgeting differently with its flex budgeting system. Instead of assigning strict limits to every category, Monarch separates my finances into fixed expenses, non-monthly expenses, and flexible spending. Fixed expenses include things like rent, mortgage payments, insurance, and loan payments. Non-monthly expenses cover irregular costs such as vacations, annual subscriptions, holidays, or car maintenance. Flexible spending includes everyday choices such as restaurants, shopping, entertainment, hobbies, and, of course, coffee. This structure makes it easier to understand which expenses are unavoidable, which ones I should prepare for in advance, and where I still have room to adjust. So the difference is pretty simple. Quicken Simplifi is better if your priority is answering the question, can I safely spend this money today? Monarch Money works better if you prefer organizing your finances into flexible categories while spending for both current and future expenses. Personally, after this Monarch review, I found its philosophy worked best for my everyday life. But no matter which approach is best for you, you'll find links for both apps in the description below. The next major difference is automation. Yes, it's one of the strongest arguments in Monarch Money's favor. Monarch offers a more advanced rule system that lets me automate transaction organization. Instead of manually correcting categories over and over, I can create custom rules that match my financial habits. For example, I regularly buy camera gear, office equipment, and computer accessories from Amazon, Best Buy, or B&H. I can also automatically apply tags, split transactions, organize recurring bills, and create highly customized financial workflows. Now, sure, if you just want to start managing your finances, these features might be more than you need. But if you freelance, run a side business, or simply want much more control over how your finances are categorized, Monarch is very useful. If that sounds useful, don't forget that Monarch offers a free trial through the link below. Don't get me wrong, Quicken Simplifi also automates most of the work, but it intentionally keeps things simple. It automatically imports transactions, categorizes spending, detects recurring subscriptions, and reduces manual bookkeeping. For many people, that's exactly the right balance because everything works with very little setup. Of course, there's also room to grow. If your finances become more complicated later on, Quicken allows you to upgrade to Quicken Business and Personal, which unlocks additional business-focused tools and more advanced financial management features. Next, let's look at bills, subscriptions, and everyday spending habits. This is probably the category where I'd personally give Quicken Simplifi the advantage. Look, both apps track spending, but Simplifi feels particularly effective at highlighting those recurring charges that slowly drain my budget without attracting much attention. Usually, financial problems don't stem from a single large purchase. Instead, they come from dozens of smaller recurring payments. A streaming service, a forgotten app subscription, a gym membership you haven't used in a long time. That last one kind of stings, especially since apparently I've been paying for a gym membership that I haven't used in the last 3-4 months. One Quicken feature I especially like is watch lists. Instead of building detailed budgets for every category, I can simply monitor the spending areas that matter most to me. For example, I've created a watch list for Amazon purchases, one for a few restaurants, and one for entertainment. This gives me much better visibility into habits that often grow without me even realizing it. So if you're like me and that sounds useful, you'll find the latest Quicken Simplifi discount linked below. Monarch Money can absolutely monitor those expenses as well, but it approaches them differently. Rather than dedicated watch lists, it groups categories such as restaurants, shopping, and entertainment into a flexible spending budget. It gives me a clear overview of how much discretionary money I have left. Although I found it isn't quite as specialized for monitoring individual spending habits as Simplifi's watch list. Overall, Quicken Simplifi clearly wins when it comes to spending tracking. So let's talk about couples and shared finances. This is where the Monarch Money budgeting app delivers one of its clearest victories. After this whole Quicken review, I found that it works extremely well for managing my own finances, but Monarch feels much more naturally designed for households. Look, we all know that managing money together can be surprisingly complicated. Some couples combine every account, some keep everything completely separate, but most fall somewhere in between with shared bills, joint savings, and individual accounts. Monarch handles these situations particularly well by supporting shared dashboards, separate user logins, joint and individual accounts, and much more. Instead of simply tracking money, it helps two people actively manage their finances together. However, the trade-off is that setting everything up may take a little longer, especially if both partners connect multiple accounts and customize lots of categories. So the choice here is fairly straightforward. If you're mainly managing your own finances, Quicken Simplifi is all you need. If you're budgeting together with a partner or household, Monarch offers a much stronger collaboration toolkit. Okay, we went through all the important differences. Which app wins in the end? Well, I think by now you know that they serve very different users. Quicken Simplifi is a more affordable, beginner-friendly solution for everyday money management. It's best for personal use and doesn't offer in-depth automation. Monarch Money offers deeper customization, more powerful automation, flexible budgeting, and a higher price point. But it's great for households and couples. Whichever option sounds right for you, you'll find both links in the description below, including the latest Quicken Simplifi and Monarch Money discounts, as well as Monarch Money's free trial. As always, thank you for watching, but before you go, let me know if you want a more in-depth Monarch app review or a full Quicken Simplifi review. Like the video if it helped you, subscribe for more, and leave a comment if you want to chat. Okay, that's it. I'll see you next time.